What's up? It's your host Tori, and who is ready to be petty? Today is kind of a weird podcast for the RTBP community. Nick and I decided to indulge in some beverages before and during recording this podcast. I wanted Nick to come on in April, and I was telling him before recording just like how it's been a little bit doom and gloom over at RTBP, talking about some serious issues, which I'm always excited and grateful to do. I'm glad that you're all still listening. But I just wanted to talk about some light stuff, maybe take a little bit of a break from kind of what's going on in the world right now and not think about things. So basically, it is a little bit of a hot mess of an episode in terms of we jump from topic to topic. And basically, it's just me like wheezing / like I just sound like a fucking seal. So don't listen with headphones. There are like a little bit of audio issues just because I wasn't really paying attention while we were recording. My apologies. And the main thing that we talk about is The Circle, the US version. And there are some spoilers for season 1 and then season 2 episodes 1 through 4. So just want to give you a heads up, if you do want to watch unspoiled, come back and revisit this episode. And honestly, if you're a new listener, if this is your first episode of RTBP, hi, I'm so happy you're here. Don't listen to this episode. Listen to some other ones first and then like come back when you love me. Because I don't know if you'll make it through. Now that I've primed all of you to really want to listen to this episode, we should probably get into it. One thing I'll share before we really get into it is that we talked for about 2 hours. This is the first hour. I think I'll release the second hour as like maybe a bonus or a part 2. Anyways, let's get to the show. I'm back with a very special guest, Nick.
I have made my return. And this time, I've made it without needing a tie-in to Taylor Swift.
I know, you've really branched out. Look at you.
I have other interests, people.
You do. The first thing we met about was not even our like love of Taylor Swift. It was our love of Survivor.
Yes. And here we are today to discuss more reality TV and non-reality TV.
We love it. And Kay, I just want to start off. You've probably noticed already, the vibes are a little chaotic. Nick was just like, I'm really, like, I had a long work day. I just need, like, a bevy just to, like, you know, wet the whistle, just to calm the nerves, to energize me for the podcast. And I was like, okay, I'll indulge too.
Only one.
And just one, just to, you know, get in the mood. And honestly, we're only on our second drink, so it's okay.
It's not like it's a Monday night or anything.
No. And I don't think, actually, I've had like maybe like half a glass of wine while recording before, but I don't think I've like actively like drank on the podcast.
Oh, well, cheers to us then. Eventually we'll get Nick and Tori After Hours podcast, and it will be completely unlistenable.
Yes. And I think that one should be like on video.
Yes.
I think it doesn't translate an audio only podcast for like how much fun we're truly having.
A Facebook Live, if you will.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, for sure. The other day, I was just like, I should go live on TikTok.
And then somebody stepped in and gave Tori the very clear picture of that being a terrible idea.
Yeah, the app itself, when it was like, you need 1,000 followers to go live. And I was like, that's such a buzzkill.
11 followers?
Yeah, like, I was like, okay, well, we'll try that again at some other time. Okay, Nick, last time you were on was December 2020. We talked about Disneyland food.
We did.
Folklore.
The Long Pond Sessions.
The Long Pond Sessions. There's already been 2 other albums since we talked.
Who's to keep up at this point?
Honestly, it's only been 4 months.
There has not been an Evermore Long Pond Sessions.
I know, we're waiting.
My Disney Plus streaming service is going to waste.
Honestly, which we're going to talk about later. And then we also talked about Demi's like turkey scandal.
That's how we got onto Disneyland, the turkey leg. That's right, because Demi Lovato was like, don't eat turkey. And then 2 hours later, she was like, turkey in the oven.
Yes. And like, she has been in the media like all of this week. And I don't want to go into it. It's like, it's just too much. But of course, like, today she blew up for this like frozen yogurt incident. And I was like, could this not have happened yesterday when I released an episode about her documentary? But it's just like, that will go unnoticed by everyone. Like,
it's a blip in the life
Demi.
of Demi Lovato's frozen yogurt.
Honestly, it's been a lot on Twitter. Let me tell you that. What's new with you? What's new since we last chatted in December?
So I guess what's kind of crazy is this is probably the longest I went without like being on the podcast, right? 4 months. How fucking long? Oh, sorry, Tori's mom. That's the drink.
It's okay.
Anyway, let me compose myself. Yeah, so it's been 4 months since the last time we spoke. I have moved for a very short period of time into the town right next door where I used to live. And I have joined a curling league.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very exciting, which we can get into a little bit later. And probably the most exciting news yet, sad news for the Canadians, is I am officially doubly vaccinated.
You're doubly
as of
vaccinated?
Last week. Yes, I'm one of the lucky ones. The teachers here in America really turned up for us. I didn't even have to put in the work to schedule my own vaccine time. They just said, you're a teacher, you come on this day, and then you come on that day, and you're good. And I said, okay, bet. I showed up that day, and then I showed up that day, and I was good.
Here's the situ. I try to be happy for people, but I am not happy. I'm so fucking bitter. Like, it literally seems, and I know that this is just like the grossest thing I'm ever gonna say on this podcast, but it feels like everyone's vaccinated but me. And I know that like literally like half my listeners are Canadians and they're not vaccinated, but it's like, it's just fucking dire straits over here.
It's almost like the plot line to like an episode of like some crappy teen drama, right? It's like everybody else in the school is getting vaccinated and you're like not eligible for whatever reason, and you're just like, oh, why did they get it but not me?
I do feel like a needy teenager that's like all in my head.
It's valid.
It really shows you though, like, to not get cocky about literally anything in life, because Canada, let me tell you, for one fucking year, Canada, like, I thought we were the hottest shit, having like fucking no cases, just fucking thriving up here, and the US was like burning down, and I was just on my high fucking horse. Oh, how the tables have turned.
The Jonas Brothers gift. Now the turntables. But no, literally, like a year ago, it was like America was like medieval times, and we were like, and like a gong show in Canada looked like a regimented, like, toy factory from Santaville, and we were jealous. And now here we are a year later, and the people who probably don't deserve anything that they're getting are reaping the benefits.
Like, does it kind of feel like that? Maybe, but like, I'm just honestly, like, I truly am just happy for anyone that's getting vaccinated and then can like maybe move on with their life. But it was really sad when there was like an article of a travel advisory for Americans to like not come to Canada, when literally for the last 13 months it's been the opposite. But I digress.
This podcast was born out of wanting to be positive.
Yeah.
And not positive for COVID.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But yes, honestly, the best news in Nick's life over the last, a month and a half has been that he has joined a curling league, which is Canada's secondary sport after lacrosse.
Tertiary, maybe, like hockey, lacrosse, and then maybe curling.
Oh, hockey, that's right. Yeah. Hockey.
What was that? Hockey is literally like the identity of like most Canadians.
Yeah, but hockey's on ice. Curling's on ice.
I guess so. So, what's your curling team's name?
We are the Dustpans.
Oh, that's
And
cute.
you want to know why we're the dustpans? Because we're dust, which in slang is bad.
Yeah.
And because in curling, you sweep a lot, which we're also pretty bad at. So the dustpans. And honestly, to connect back to you just like a moment ago, talk about like riding your high horse in Canada. So my team had 3 weeks ago, my team went up against a legitimate like curling world champion. Well, I don't know if he was like a world champion, but he went to the 2017 World Curling Championships in Edmonton and had like a blazer for it. Like he had like a jumpsuit, and we got crushed like 21-1. Now, if that sounds bad, the score sheet only goes up to 15, so it's worse than what you think. So then that was that week, and then 2 weeks ago we got our first win, and we weren't supposed to beat this team, and we won, and we were like really feeling it, like you know, celebrating that night, right, getting after it. This week we showed up and we're playing. So then we went from 8th place to 7th place, and this week we played the 8th place team. So we were like feeling ourselves, like we're ready to go, and then we lost.
Oh no, by a lot.
So we saved face, like only by like a few. But mind you, what I've learned about myself a lot over the past, honestly, I can say past year, but like really the past like month and a half, is that I'm a really terrible team player. Um, and I'm often mad that I can't do everything, despite not being even close to like the best on our team.
Yes.
Like literally, like probably like fourth or fifth out of six.
I
So,
hope they're all listening right now and wondering who's in what position that you just ranked
I
yourself.
so I know for a fact. Well, actually, I don't know for a fact. One of them probably will be because he keeps making jokes about me being on the podcast to the point where I was like, "Okay, Ben, I'm going on the podcast this week."
Cute. Shout out Ben. Go dustpans. don't don't do a spit take, Nick. Like
Yes, go dustpans. We have our last match this week, and the team that we're playing right now wears curling pants. And this is a rec league, Tori. Like they are showing up in like orange Argyle pants. Which, first of all, orange. You look like the damn Netherlands. Second, tryhards. 'Cause I thought, when we showed up, they were wearing pants, and I was like, they're wearing this like in like a campy way. Like they're trying to be like, we're here to have a good time. But no, they're hardos. Like they are hardos, and they're not even like that good. Like to be hardos. Like I know we're bad. They're like middle of the standings.
what's a hardo? Like a hardcore?
The queen of slang asking me what a slang word is. A hardo is
Honestly.
somebody who like tries in gym class, or like
Oh, okay.
a hardo is somebody who is like sweating profusely after like a 15-minute frisbee session. Like
Okay,
a
okay.
hardo is somebody who is like, maybe you should like sit on the bench and watch, and it's like recess.
Right. Okay.
So
I'm
that's
right
what a
there with
hardo
you.
is.
Right.
So we play them this week. And honestly, we just want to beat them because we don't like them because they're hardos. And I think that they're probably gonna like bash our heads in with like the curling stone.
Oh my god, that's ugly. Yeah, I couldn't. Well, honestly, I would want like matching outfits, but not like orange argyle pants.
Yeah, no, I want to look like, I want to look like fun when we show up. And we didn't prepare for that at all. So like if we do it again next season, like we're gonna be like looking fly.
Cute.
But the orange argyle pants are a no go, especially when you're like making rude quips to the team that sucks.
Oh my god, do you like chirp them on your like side of the lane or whatever?
Oh,
Like,
but like, so somebody on our team accidentally moved their rock last week, as like an honest accident. And mind you, like nobody on our team has played before like March 13th. So
right.
we just like touched it because we thought it was like our stone and was getting in the way. And the girl on my team touched it, and he like stared at her, and he's like, "Why are you doing that? Where was it? How dare you do that?" And she was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she tried to apologize like 2 or 3 times to this man, and he
Yeah.
literally did not accept the apology.
Oh my god. What a
So
hardo.
yeah, exactly, a hardo. So it would be really nice to beat them this week, but honestly, like, just let's be petty and make their life miserable for the 2 hours they have to meet us.
That sounds like more fun, to be
Hmm.
honest.
Exactly, probably a more realistic goal too.
Yes. I know, because I feel like I follow the epic highs and lows of your curling team, and like,
That's the behind the
it's
scenes
like,
content of the last 6 Saturday nights of my life.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you're kind of like missing like the most important plot point, which is where you and your friends get absolutely blasted after the games, like
Yes,
win or
win
lose.
or lose. Yes.
Yeah, so like our group chat is like popping because it's just Nick sending
It'll be
voice
like 3
messages.
a.m. EST.
Yeah,
And
and
then
I'm like,
Tori
I'm
will do like a
awake.
wellness check on me like every Sunday morning. Like, how are you feeling?
It's so true. Like clockwork. Oh my god, that's so funny. Well, just want to check in as a person that gets like
Yes.
anxiety.
Anyway, on to why the people showed up. I mean, I know they showed up for me, but like we try to act like they showed up for something else. Meanwhile, the Nick pods get like 80 listeners. He laughs because it's true.
No, that's not the case. No, 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 no. Everyone loves when you join the pod. Okay, before we get into like the reason why we're here, can you just tell me a little bit about your like Taylor Swift, like Evermore came out and Fearless Taylor's version. So can you just like tell me a little bit about like how that's
So
going for
I
you?
really enjoyed Evermore, and I think that it's gotten like better for me over time. But I'm not gonna lie, like when it first came out, there was major like Taylor Swift anxiety of like, are these just like the leftover tracks that didn't make folklore? Um, and I was like, I don't really know like how to feel about this. And on my first listen through, I just remember being like, there's songs that I like here, and then there's songs that I'm like, mm. Some of those songs being like Champagne's Problems and Gold Rush. But then like over the last few months, not so much with champagne problems, but like Gold Rush has really been one that's like come on strong for me. And that's really hard for me to admit as like a hardo Jack Antonoff dislike member. I'm in team get Jack Antonoff off of people's albums. And that's like the one song he produced for that album, and it's like one of the better ones. But I do think there's like
Yeah.
something pretty special about like tracks 4, 5, and 6. And honestly, like I'm a huge fan of like when country Taylor Swift like rolls herself back out. It's like No Body, No Crime really did that for me. And I do think it's like a more
Yes, yes.
cohesive work than folklore is in some ways. Like I'm just not a fan of Seven or Epiphany. This is log documented. So that's not on Evermore. Definitely not a letdown. I've enjoyed it a lot, probably equal to that of folklore. So no qualms there. But Taylor Swift is just exhausting. Like really, like
Exhausting.
I don't know how the Swifties do it because like if she puts something out, like I will listen to it. Like I really like will listen to it, and I won't be like complaining about it. But it's like if I had to play these games with like your Easter eggs or being like, what's she gonna post next, or like because I remember seeing that like "Tis the Damn Season" post before she even announced Evermore and being like, that's like a very odd phrasing, but like I didn't think anything of it because clearly I'm like some clown like roaming about thinking that like Taylor Swift is just like living her high life. And then the Taylor version, great. I mean, it's not all that different from what I expected it to be. The like extra tracks are fun. Again, love the new like content there. My real bitter bone to pick that I mentioned earlier is like Taylor, you called it folklore, the Long Pond Sessions, very clearly plural. Like, where is the second one? Like, where is it? Did it get
We're
lost?
waiting.
Is it somewhere in the deluxe version of Taylor's version? Like, is that like song 29? Because there's 28 there, right? Like,
Honestly, yeah, I would love that. I didn't think I would care for the long pond sessions, but I actually like straight up love them. And I haven't enjoyed Evermore as much of as I have folklore, but I think I will. I think it's like with Taylor's music, there's a time and a place. Like I respect and generally like every song she's ever put out there, but I feel like when there's a time for you to enjoy it, like it'll come to you. And like I've
yes.
messaged you a lot over the past couple months, being like going on walks by
Mm-hmm.
myself listening to folklore, like, and I just have a whole new appreciation for it, and I think that will come with Evermore. Just it has to be like the right time.
Yeah, and I like 1 million, like trillion% agree. Like there is some stuff that she's put out that like I recognize as good, but it's like I have to be in the mindset to want to listen to it. And folklore is one of the easier ones that like I don't often like. I feel like it applies to a lot, so I can go through and listen to it. I don't know the last time I've listened to it like front to back, but like every once in a while I'll seek out like one of those songs that isn't called Epiphany and kind of just vibe.
Yeah. I totally get that. And then Fearless, Taylor's version, is also so good. I think that it came again at the
Yeah.
perfect time because Fearless just for me, it was kind of like me aging out of young adult novels. Is like I was kind of aging out of Fearless just because it's like this is clearly, yeah, like a 15-year-old or whatever writing and singing these songs, but just this new twist on it where she's like 32 or
Yeah.
whatever and singing it is like, and her voice has just gotten so much better. It's so good.
And that's one of those albums I can't say I went back and listened to that much prior to her like putting it out. I thought and nobody else thought this way. I thought it was an odd choice for her to choose that as like her first one to put out. I was like, kind of seems like weird to step like I like if she had done like her first one, I would have got it. If she had done like a more poppy one, like Red, I would have got it. To her to put Fearless out first, I was like, seems like an odd choice, but it actually worked like really well because like the little bit of Country Taylor I wanted from Nobody No Crime like came back like in full force. And those songs are good. Like I appreciate those
Totally.
songs. So a lot of rumors out right now for doing 1989 next, which hopefully will be good because I'm not actually like a huge 1989 fan. I think some of her best work ever is on that, like Style and Blank Space.
Yes.
Like I can jam to for days. Actually, even on my way to work this morning, I was listening to the radio because I was just like being lazy and didn't want to like plug my phone into the aux
Been
cord.
there.
And literally, as I'm pulling into the work parking lot, like "Shake It Off" came on, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I got like one Taylor Swift song that came on this morning because I wasn't even on aux controlling. So there's only one today."
Actually, 1989 is like my favorite with Reputation. So I'm like thrilled for this to come out. I think it's going to be so good. And it is like, I think, very obvious at this point that it is going to be the next one, just with all of like the clues that
Mhm.
we got. She even tweeted, I think, yesterday, like, I'm in the studio and stuff. I think why she chose Fearless, or like a few theories, like, it was like the 13th anniversary of it, and 13 is a big number.
Of course, of course, there's some reasoning. I was just like, that was her first Grammy one, so that made sense to
Yeah, and
me.
also people have talked a little bit about like it also being maybe like the one that brings in the most money from like streaming services and
Probably
stuff, cuz that's what she's like essentially trying to do is like cut off
doing here,
the
yeah.
revenue to like Scooter Braun and Shamrock Holdings or whatever the fuck that company's called.
And I'm definitely like going out of my way to like listen to the like those versions.
Same.
Like I won't like click on the like other versions because I feel like that would just be like a disservice to all the like time she's putting in.
Literally to doing this. And but like yes, like she is doing us a service, but like it also hit number 1 I think this week on Billboard. It's like it's still like
Yeah, I mean, no, it's smart. Really, like kind of last thoughts on Taylor Swift. The one thing I want out of these re-records is that 10-minute version of All Too Well.
oh, I
Like really,
know.
like that's kind of what I want because I think the idea is all of them are going to sound very similar to what they did the first
Yeah.
time. And the older song versions of that will be really cool because her voice will change so much. I can't imagine Reputation or 1989 sounding all that different. Like they weren't that long ago.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to like bonus tracks and then see if we can get that 10-minute version of All Too Well because she did give us a like acoustic version of Forever and Always on this
Yeah.
one. So I think she's gonna play around with that like concept. So I'm hoping we get that. And honestly, like she can't put Reputation out for another like a year and a half or something. But when that one comes out, best be know I will be bumping it because like those first like 6 songs like really do it for me when I'm in that headspace.
That's another good point is there are some albums that hadn't reached like the 5-year mark or whatever for her to be able to re-record them, so she did have like a limited number that she was able to record.
Justice for Speak Now.
Honestly though, I listen to Speak Now like a lot. Okay, I have another question for you and then we'll move on. Do you think that there is another album in the trilogy, I just call it the trilogy, of
Yeah.
Folklore, Evermore, and blank?
So I think that there has to be, and we've kind of talked, I don't actually think we've talked about it, but there was that podcast series on The Ringer that discussed like all of Taylor Swift's
Mm-hmm.
albums. And if I'm thinking like the businesswoman that Taylor Swift is, I want to tour again in summer of 2022.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That's where my money's going to be. I haven't been able to tour in nearly, oh my God, so many more years than I can probably even imagine right now.
Yes.
So I need to tour to like get a lot of money back. How am I going to tour Lover, Folklore, and Evermore? Like those are not like cohesive. They're not necessarily like stadium tours. So to me, I feel like that the last one of the trilogy And if I look at Taylor Swift's like former body of work, she did like three very country albums. Then she had that Red, which was like a bridge country pop
Mm-hmm.
album, and then she had three huge pop albums between 1989, Reputation, and Lover. And then now she has kind of like whatever we're calling this. I know some people say indie, but
Yeah.
like we don't want to necessarily use that word if it's wrong.
Yeah.
So it seems like there should be one that's kind of like her coming out of the forest, so to speak. And that might be one that has some of those like stadium songs where she can like sprinkle in like the Cruel Summers from Lover or those types
Mm.
of jams and some of like the more upbeat songs from both Evermore and Folklore. Like, but she's not going to go out there and perform like Mad Woman probably from Folklore. Like, she's not going to go out there and perform
Yeah.
Hoax unless like we're all crying in the closet eating our Cheez-Its.
Honestly, could you imagine? Like, I would have to bring my own box to the stadium. Like,
So I think she's going to do something where she can kind of like plug and play the big songs that she definitely wants to be able to do at the concert and make it something that's cohesive. But I think there has to be one more before she moves on to whatever she's doing next.
and do you think that she releases that third one closer to the date that she would be able to tour?
So part of me is like, she calls Folklore her what? Like spring, summer? Is that what she was? Is that what
Um,
she's trying to nonsense she's trying to
no,
pull on us?
folklore wasn't it fall and then Evermore was
Winter?
winter?
I think she's definitely going for winter and Evermore, whether we agree with that or
I
not.
know. Oh, no, okay. Oh my god, you're so right. Okay. Okay. Folklore was summer. Was spring summer, I think. Wasn't it? And then Evermore was
No.
fall winter. I don't know cuz I like disagree with that. So, who am I to say?
I think that we do need like the third one in that trilogy that we're making up in our heads right now. For people who've already pressed the 15 second, let me go to the next
Oh
section of this
yeah.
podcast.
It's coming, don't worry.
I think the next one has to be like a springish or late winter type of album because we've gone from like gray to like
Sepia.
sepia, sepia,
Yeah.
sepia.
Yeah.
Like the next one has to be like some type of like a warmer color, right? Has she ever done a green vibe? I feel like
Um
green is coming. Bookmark
Right.
it.
Okay. Okay. No, I don't think she has. Okay. I do want to say though, Sepia made a huge comeback, and I never thought it would.
Good for sepia. Wait, remember back in the day when Instagram filters were named? I haven't posted on Instagram in nearly 3 years at this point, so I might be wrong. That's a petty story for another time. But remember back in the day when they had like filter names and it was like Hudson, Manhattan. But like the only way you could see it but was by like scrolling and it being like a block around it.
Yes. Okay.
And now
Valencia
you swipe
was my
Valencia.
fucking shit. Oh my god, I would put fucking every single thing in Valencia.
My new Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I wish I could remember what some of the other filters. Oh, I went to pull up Instagram and I just hit the Boston Tea Train app and I just bought a ticket.
What? Just wait. What?
Anywho,
Oh my god.
I haven't been on this Instagram app in so long. How do I post a picture on this thing
Oh
now?
my god. Okay, there was like Apollo.
Let me not accidentally post this. Okay, so there's like Claridon, Gingham,
Yeah.
Moon, Lark. Oh, Lark! Back in my day, Lark was the one because that was the one that was like overexposed and it would really like kind of like pop off, and I thought it made sunsets look cool. Ludwig. That sounds like a Harry Potter character.
Yes, yes. Ludwig like
Oh,
Beethoven.
Mayfair. I remember that one. X Pro 2.
How do you have all of these?
There's a Willow filter.
Mm.
Taylor Swift inspired.
Okay, I also have not posted since December 2019, and I feel like it's cursed, and I'm actually so scared to repost on Instagram because you know when like you get a notification and it's like this person hasn't posted in a while and they just posted, like I just feel like it's a lot of pressure.
That's kind of why, not that that's why I haven't posted in a while, but I used to be like really good at the comment game or like my like photo caption game
Yeah.
on Instagram. And I feel like, like as the days have went on, or the years have went on, I should say, people don't care so much about like Instagram captions anymore. Like back in like the day, it would be like, what song lyric can I use?
Yeah.
Which was like akin to like Facebook being like, can we pretend that airplanes in the night skies are like shooting stars? Because I could really use a wish right now. And people would be like, hey, what's my caption going to be? Or be like, how do I caption this? How do I caption this? These days, people are like, let me throw up that sun emoji and call it a year. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I have an audience. expecting quality content. But then the other part is like,
Okay, Nick, you've lost your audience. It's been 3 years. What are you talking about?
but, but the other part of this is the last time I attempted to post on Instagram, and please note the use of the word attempted because Instagram came and sabotaged me and ruined our relationship.
Yeah.
Was June 12th, 2018. So almost 3 full years at this point. I can't join like a dating app at this point because people are going to go to my profile and be like, this man hasn't posted in like 3 years.
He's a
Like, what does
serial
he look like?
killer.
Right? Exactly. So I need to do like a photo dump so that people can like track me through the years if I'm ever going to rejoin like some type of dating app. Because if not, they're going to be like, how do I show my friends that this man was attractive when he was 21?
100%. I was thinking that too. I'm like, do I do like a carousel of photos for my like rebirth on Instagram?
It's like when Taylor Swift went dark and then she just posted that like snake thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was iconic.
Where's my snake
Should
moment?
we wipe our pages to do a snake moment?
Let the viewers tell us.
Yeah. Okay. Comment down below.
My first Instagram was February 11th, 2012.
Oh my God. Okay. I'll look at mine because this podcast is already unhinged. Okay. This is the thing. Also, is like I try to maintain my RTBP one. Follow me there, and it's just really hard to do both. Mine was December 31st, 2011. Here's the thing.
Oh my God, wow.
I'll give you a little secret though. When I joined orgs, I like wiped all my profiles of really embarrassing shit. Like there's still like, trust me, there's embarrassing shit on here, but like I wiped it of like a lot of stuff.
Honestly, that's like a genius move. I have just given up on all of that. Like if somebody wants to stalk me back to 2011 and see like a picture of me singing at the wheel,
Yeah,
like
iconic.
they can do it. If they want to go back to like my Facebook photo of me in like 8th grade, like have at it. Like if you're gonna judge me for that, like good, wade yourself out.
I will make my return. It's like I have so many photos from not holidays because we haven't taken a holiday since I last posted. But like I do have like photos, and I have so many of like travel photos that I just like have not posted. But then I'm like, now it's like too late to post them. Anyways, we don't need to go into like my like Instagram like worry, but like I just want to say it's tough on these streets.
It is. It's tough on the top too. Like when people are expecting like quality stuff from you. Like I wish I could be a nobody, right? Where I just could like post whatever.
Same.
Like,
and everyone listening to this is like, you, trust me, honey, you are a nobody. But like the thing is that like it's literally really fucking hard. There's a lot of pressure, and I just know that I underperform and undersell constantly. Like I just like know that in my heart.
Tori's like, I'm not ready to be an influencer yet.
Yeah, I feel like I am and I am not. I don't know. Maybe I'll just like foray into TikTok. Maybe that's my new way.
And then eventually get 1,000 followers and go live.
I would love that. And then maybe that jumpstarts my career on The Circle, which is what we're going to talk about next.
30 minutes into the podcast. Okay, and the show The Circle that dropped on Netflix this week.
Let's circle back to The Circle. Is this going to be unpostable?
No. Okay. This is a bonus episode at its core, I guess.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is like a Patreon episode, I feel like. Like, this should be behind a paywall.
The Circle, Tori, have you ever watched it before it premiered on Netflix?
Yes, Nick. I have watched the first season and the second season, only the American ones, because I'm bad at watching TV.
Yes. Let's just take an aside there. I know we just got talking about The Circle. Tori is the worst person at watching TV that I've ever known for somebody who genuinely enjoys watching TV. Like, I'm bad at watching TV, and I will admit that, but I don't enjoy watching TV, so that's why I'm bad at it. Tori is watching, like, TV all the time.
All the time. All the time. 24/7.
Every time you recommend Tori a TV show, Tori, what is your response? Hey, Tori, you should watch Ted Lasso. Tori, I'll put it on my list. That is Tori.
Why am I a 90-year-old grandma? That was literally how I would do like an elderly person's voice.
I'll put it on my wrist.
That was worse. That was worse. Okay. So here's the situ though, is because people know that I love TV. I get DMs every single day of my life being like, watch this TV show. And it's like, know what? I can only give so much. Okay.
It's hard out in these streets.
I know. This is the one bad thing that I'll say about myself is that I watch the worst TV shows. Like, did I binge the full season of Country Comfort before I watched an award-winning show like Ted Lasso? Yes. Yes, I did.
It has gotten to the point where Tori, myself, and our friend Jeff have two separate chats on two different social media platforms titled Berate Tori with Ted Lasso content to force her to watch the show. And every single time that either a tweet gets shared about Ted Lasso that stumbles across my profile, and it's like, is this tweet relevant to you? And I'm like, yes, it's Ted Lasso. Of course it is. I will send it to Tori. And then I'll get a tweet from Tori coming up and I'll be like, is this tweet relevant to you? And it'll be about like selling Sunset. And I'm like, no, it's not.
I'm so sorry. Okay, and like my IRL friends that are listening to this are like rolling over in their fucking graves because they're like, if we need to bring up Ted Lasso one more time, like we'll actually pull the plug. Okay, I will say though, shout out to friend of the pod Champ. He's been on multiple times. He said, are we sure though that Tori is gonna like an inspirational sports TV show? And I was like, honestly, you have a point. Will I fucking hate sports.
And that's what's holding you back, isn't it? The fear of liking quality TV.
No, the thing that's holding me back is that I am not in a mental space to like set myself up to cry and think about things.
Tori said, I would have rather listened to Hoax than do 10 episodes of Ted Lasso.
Literally. I will watch it one day, but it has to be when I'm in like a mental headspace that I can fully get it. I'm too bitter right now.
Anyway, everybody's watching the podcast. Listen to Ted Lasso. But let's circle back to the circle that we never really officially started talking about.
Yes. Okay. So here's my pitch for why you should watch The Circle if you're not watching, because I have a bad feeling that the listeners of the podcast haven't watched The Circle yet. It is such a good reality TV show for people that don't like Survivor because it's too serious and too strategic, and then people who don't have the commitment to watch a full Big Brother season.
And we don't blame anybody out there who doesn't have the commitment to watch a full Big Brother season. Let me put that out there.
I don't remember the last time I did watch a full season, to be honest.
But Tori, you bring up a great point, because I have like one friend who I've known my entire life, and he hates Survivor. Like, it's just not his thing. Like, it's too strategic for him. He's like, I don't understand why there's like all this nonsense going on. But he loved The Circle, because The Circle, even though it's kind of like, you know, just as many episodes as Survivor season would be, it just seems to be much easier to follow. A lot of things that I dislike about The Circle, and all of them stem from the fact that it's not strategic enough, but it's still really enjoyable content. So if you're somebody who is like, I can never really get into Survivor because there's so many layers going on, The Circle is the show right for you.
Yeah, and like, I think that it actually is. It's not as strategic. I think it is way more strategic than it actually shows.
Yes.
They do show more of like the fun, really funny like bits and stuff that the people have. But it is like a really good TV show.
And The Circle does a nice job with its casting of like its original group. And the original group means like the people that are there from episode 1, because people come in and out of the show at all times. So you might see somebody in episode 1 who you love, but then they're gone by episode 4, and that's okay because you get people coming in and out all season long, but you still grow an attachment to like a few people who will be there from day 1 to the finale.
Totally. And like, if you are a gamer, yes, I recognize that there are like straight up like structural problems to the show, like these people coming in at the fucking 11th hour, but like it is kind of just like good times, to be honest.
Okay, so let's talk about the good before we get into our petty comments, because I could petty comment on The Circle like all day, despite the fact that it is probably my second favorite reality show behind Survivor.
Same, which is like absolutely wild to me. Okay, what's the good?
Okay, so the good is the fact that it is a very digestible in the sense that the conversations they show are really quick. Like it's enough to say like, okay, these people like each other because of this reason. It's very fast paced. In a show that doesn't feel fast paced because sometimes you go like 2 episodes with somebody getting eliminated and like that is not Survivor. Survivor is it's like every episode somebody's like get knocked down. And in The Circle, you might just have an episode that's like, okay, we're introducing a new character, they're gonna play some games and they'll maybe do like a ranking. But the way that they buzz through things and the way that they cast people who can just like talk at the wall all day and make it really funny is so good. The editing of the show for entertainment purposes is top notch. Now, the
Yeah,
editing of the show for strategic purposes leaves some room to be desired.
lackluster for sure. But you're right. Like, they have a strategic conversation where they're like basically forming an alliance, and like because it's like text conversation, basically, they can just edit it to something like so simple, and it just moves so much quicker than like Survivor does, for example.
And I think the other thing that's really good about The Circle and the way that they design things is you watch it and you're like, I can do that. Like every single thing you watch, you can imagine yourself being in that situation and how you would play it. Because it's not a game that like literally anybody could play this show. Like you don't have to be like charming necessarily. I mean, like you might be bad at it, but like for Survivor, it's one of those shows where it's like I could not live outside for 39 days, or I could not swim, or I could not do this, or I could not do that. In The Circle, there's literally nothing that you can't do. Like they have had like this season right now, one of the guys on the show is catfishing as somebody who he's not, and he's like 55-plus-year-old like man. I watched a lot of the like different there's a lot of versions on Netflix, so you can watch like the Brazilian version, you can watch the French version, and in the French version they cast like 2 85-year-old grandmothers. Like they really like make it applicable to like anybody could go and play. Like they could be a hot mess, but you can imagine playing it and it not being that hard.
Maybe that's why it's so enjoyable, is because you can just picture yourself doing it, because it is literally sitting like in front of your computer and like texting people.
Yeah.
Remember like Ed and like Deborah or like Tammy or something?
Sadly, I remember them.
They were the worst.
Yes. So this is the issue that the US version, or the Netflix version, I should say, of The Circle has that other versions of the series does not have. They put their best people in first. They will add people throughout the season who are like, why the hell are you here? So in the first season, they add this like mom and son, and they play as the son. So they're not catfishing as somebody random. They're catfishing as one of the guys who's there, and the mom is there, and literally adds nothing of benefit. Like, if anything, she hurts his game. I think she was really just there because he didn't know how to cook. And that sounds like terrible, but like if you watch those episodes back, like she is cooking, he's playing the game and riding his little race car around. They also cast that guy Bill, who is like, okay, first of all, your name is Bill, so like, can we be more interesting, please? Try it once, please. And I don't think he brought anything to the table in the 4 episodes that he was there, other than be like somewhat attractive. And even at that, like at the point we were in the show when they added this man, like I was more attracted to pretty much every other human being there, with the exception of the guy who was playing a more attractive guy.
I swear to God, I watched the season. I have no idea who and what you're talking about. Like, oh my God.
And they keep adding like forgettable people.
I know. I'm like, hello, I'm right here. Cast me. I would be so
In the
fun.
first season, they cast some girl who's like, I'm gonna catfish as like somebody more attractive than me. And then literally like the next episode, she's like, I'm revealing my true self to somebody.
I know. I know. Okay, that girl, I forget her name, which is bad.
Sean.
Okay, I follow Sean on TikTok and she's actually iconic. And I'm always like, why did you flop so fucking hard on the TV show?
She really did flop hard, and I'm not going to rag on her because like four other people flopped harder than she did. But it was like
Yeah.
last season, literally, the people who, the spoiler alert, but you don't care at this point. If you're still listening, like you're just here for the ride,
Buckle in.
the five people who made the final five were there literally night one because every other person they added to the show was terrible. It was like, oh,
I
so we
know.
add this person and hopefully they get eliminated soon.
Okay, so this season, Lance Bass, aka Lisa, gets added in like episode three. And I think it's gonna be the same shit. Like she's gonna be, speaking of like people that are just bad TV, she should be voted out like immediately.
The decision to go in as a famous person is something that is so over my head. Like, what
I
type of like a
know.
metagaming were you playing here? Most people are like, I can't let anybody know I'm a celebrity because then they won't vote for me to win because they'll think I'm already rich. And you were like, I'm not a celebrity, but I'm gonna go in as like the third best member of NSYNC. Or was he
Who's
Backstreet
the
Boys?
he was NSYNC. Who was the first and second
Was Justin Timberlake
best?
in NSYNC? So he's number
Yes.
one. And Joey
JC
Vitale.
Chazé.
Joey
It was not.
yes, Joey
It
Vitale had
was
like
not
a
Joey.
reoccurring character arc in Hannah Montana. Did Lance Bass? Point made.
I I rest my case. Honestly, fucking fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, I think that she didn't have a choice. The one thing that this okay, by the way, everyone, we're talking about the current season. Okay, like the timestamps for this episode are gonna be so gnarly. Okay. Spoiler alert. 10 minutes ago. I don't think she had a choice. The one thing that makes it more believable is Chloe from Too Hot to Handle is also on this TV show. So I feel like it's like, oh, Chloe's here and Lance is here. Like maybe they're real or maybe they're both fake. She's not great TV.
Now here's why I will buy Chloe from Too Hot to Handle. Only because Too Hot to Handle is a Netflix show. So them trying to like cross pollinate another show would tempt the simple-minded viewer to go watch Too Hot to Handle. Right?
Did you watch Too Hot to Handle?
I did not. I also did not watch Love in a Bubble, Blind Love.
Love is Blind?
Love is Blind.
Why are you bringing that up?
Because it didn't come out around
right.
this time last year. Like them trying to like bring people from one show. It's like when like The Challenge gets people from like CBS shows and it's like, oh my god,
right.
so cool.
Right.
However, like me seeing Lance Bass, I'm like, this man has better things to be doing with his life. Like you immediately know that is a catfish. Now we can talk all day long about whether like me knowing you're a catfish or not should matter because really it shouldn't. Like in this show, you can play whoever you want. Your goal is to become popular. But if you're playing this on a strategic level, whoever you connect with is who you should want to keep around, whether they're real or fake. Right? Like the game is called Catch the Catfish. You aren't on MTV trying to figure out who's lying to you about loving you.
You're not fucking Neve Schulman.
Neve Schulman. I didn't want to pronounce his name wrong. Exactly.
Yes.
What does it matter? And a lot of the times, if you watch season one, or if you watch a lot of these other versions of the show, you get people who are like, I gotta go for that person because they're a catfish, or we need to eliminate the catfish, or hashtag catfish killer. Which, if we're gonna need a side tangent here, Tori, what is your thoughts on the hashtags that people throw? Do you use hashtags this much when you talk to your friends?
Like kind of unironically. Like, but I'm not like hashtag I'm a fun guy too or whatever. Like that was so embarrassing. Yeah, I think like the one thing you have to like suspend from reality when you're watching this TV show is that they just use hashtags wrong.
Do you think that's a producer encouragement, like use the hashtags, or do you think that's them being like, I'm living alone for 3 weeks in my apartment, hashtag FYBT RBTB.
TVB. I think that it's a mix of both. Like, I think it is a good way for the producers to get their characters to like say a statement, like a catchy statement in a hashtag, like to sum up a conversation. Like when River went to Courtney and was like hashtag, or Brent, or I don't know, the boys. I think it was actually Brent. Was there a Brent? No, Bryant. Could you have cut me off like fucking 2 minutes ago? Jesus Christ.
I mean, we should have cut this off before we got the second drink.
When Bryant went to Courtney and was like hashtag loyal lads, I think the producers are like throwing a hashtag to like sum up this conversation.
And you're right. Okay, I can get with that. That makes sense. When somebody's like hashtag like girl squad, like, okay, I in my head say the girls are together, or
Yes.
lads, okay, these two are good with each other. But it's when people are hashtagging like I'm a fun guy, or like long hair, don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a firecracker.
Yeah. It's so bad. And okay, I also just like don't get the point of hashtags, because if you like search on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, like literally words come up too.
So that's the thing, that hashtags started back when like Twitter was like a baby app, and every trending topic had a hashtag. But now Twitter works in a different way, where like it's just like, oh, a lot of people are talking about like this thing, and you can just click it and go there. And sometimes you have tweet, like the most frustrating thing ever is when something is trending and you're like, why is this thing trending? And then you go there to find out why
Yes.
it's trending, and you can't figure it out because people are just talking about something irrelevant. And that's because Twitter has like progressed past the need for hashtags, and hashtags are kind of just like a meme now.
Okay, my question for you is, would you be a catfish or would you be yourself on the show?
So I think it would be really fun to be a catfish, but I
Yeah.
also have like an inflated sense of the ego where I'm like, I'm gonna go be myself and people are gonna love me anyway.
But that is the truth, because like Nick and I are org players. If you haven't caught the Nick and I saga after for the past however months you've been on this podcast, is that's how we met, was through online reality games. I had to think for a second what they were even called. But like I honestly think that the catfishes like are at such a
And
disadvantage.
here's the deal with the people who play catfish is 98% of the time they are incredibly stupid. They are so dumb.
Yeah.
They don't know how to catfish.
Yeah.
People catfishing as people, they can't even fake. It's like
Yeah.
there's nothing that infuriates me more than when people pick a terrible picture. Like, you have a one job. Pick a good
Yeah.
picture of yourself. If that picture is zoned in and you are blurry, pick a new picture. If that is a picture where it looks like a stock photo, pick a new picture. I get
Totally.
so frustrated when I see people pick pictures, because the first picture that you pick, literally the first picture you pick, is like your icon for all season long. And sometimes you have the opportunity to add more pictures as the game goes on, so you can show different sides of yourself. But the first one you pick is your avatar for the entire season. And people constantly pick it wrong. And I'm there looking at your blurry ass on the screen for 12 episodes because you don't know how to pick a picture. Or like last season, this girl picked a picture. She was catfishing. She picked this picture of like a younger woman than her, and it was like a very like touched up. Like, how dumb can you be? And you think you go
Yeah.
all the way? Like, no. And that's what makes me more mad than anything else. Is like, if you're gonna catfish, do it well. Because if you can do it well, like, you're fine. Like, but nobody can do it well because they're stupid. And they often pick the best catfish to start the show, at least in the US and the UK, the US version, I should say. I've only ever seen, in the like 6 different seasons of The Circle I've watched, 2 good catfish. 3 actually, if
Yeah.
I count Seaburn from last season, but he didn't win, so what's the point?
Yeah, Seaburn was okay. For example, I think the best person that's doing catfish-esque is Courtney, who is being himself other than his profession. Like, I think that's smart. And like I did that kind of in orgs. Like I didn't want to tell people what I did for work, so I just like said something vague and just like moved on, cuz he is like, he talks about reality TV like online or something like that. So, he's posing as a barista. The other person that I think is doing it, I don't think he's doing a great job per se, but like Jack as Emily, he is pretending to be like a sorority girl. And I think that that was smart in terms of like, it definitely is like a tad sexist and like very gender role-y. But like, if you are to play into that because you're playing into like what people generally think, he wants to play a cutthroat strategic game but hide behind like a 5'1" blonde like sorority girl.
I do think in some levels like that's accurate because I do think that like if I saw a profile of like some 20-year-old nerdy looking dude, I'd be like,
You
oh, he's not here to
assume.
mess around. And I would
Yeah.
almost in like some levels like I think that I could play it off. But I think if somebody sees like some 25 less than 25-year-old like guy playing who's not like ripped or clearly there to be a celebrity, I'm automatically like they're here to play the game. The issue with Jack, there's actually two major issues that I have with Jack is that he doesn't know how to play a girl well enough. Like he did not. I don't think he studied her mannerisms well enough. Talks about rosé all day, and she's not drinking a rosé in her profile picture. It's like very clearly like some type of like spritzer or like mixed drink. It's not rosé. It's too bubbly for it to be wine, which is like red flags there. As dumb as that is. And second, his you know how they all have like boards, so all the players have like these like boards in their room where they can like put hashtags or like write like a little message and it'll
Yeah.
light up.
Like the letter boards. Yeah.
Tori, do you know what his says?
No.
It says Jack Harlow, which is like a white rapper who like of all the things for you to put on your board, it's like Jack Harlow. Like, what are you trying to angle at? Do you want to like be friends in his like squad after you like get out of this show?
Well, probably because Jack Harlow like retweeted him.
Oh, make
Yes,
him.
and just some Jack Harlow tea. Apparently, he's dating Addison Rae.
Here's the example of that. I saw Jack Harlow trending and I was like, why is Jack Harlow trending? And I clicked on it and all the tweets were about Tyler Harrow, which is like a basketball player for the Miami Heat, I think. I don't watch basketball. And it's because Jack Harlow has a song called like Tyler Harrow where he's like, he's going to teach me how to hit a jumper. And the first like six tweets I had were people like ripping on this like Tyler Harrow guy for not being as good as people think he is just because of Jack Harlow's song. But then I scrolled down enough and saw the Addison Rae thing, who I think is that like TikToker who was on Jimmy Fallon a few weeks ago, who was like
Yes.
half-assing TikTok dance moves that looked really weird in real life.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and she was dating Bryce Hall and then they broke up. He's another TikToker.
Do they live in the TikTok house?
He lives in the Sway house, I believe, and she doesn't live in any TikTok
Oh,
house.
she's too good for them.
They broke up and then they were kind of spotted at like an airport together and that people were like, oh, maybe they're back together. But then Jack Harlow posted a picture of him with Pete Davidson and like someone else from the Jake Paul fight this weekend, and her hand was like on his chest. So there's so much
See,
drums.
this is not the drama I care for. The relationship drama that I truly care for is Olivia
Olivia Rodrigo.
Rodrigo. That's
Yes.
that's relationship drama that like I'm really here for. And I know it's kind of like puttered out as of late, but like give me that relationship drama over like some TikToker just kind of like trying to cling on to a more famous person.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm all about it. Like make your brand big. Like that's not like trash talk, but it's like there's too many of these TikTokers and people who are like barely famous out there. Like I don't care about you.
Yeah, there is a lot of TikTok drama right now. There's like another couple that had like a breakup and then this other girl is dating her best friend and stuff. I don't know. It's interesting to me, but I totally get that it wouldn't be interesting to like literally any other person in the world. So the circle.
Honestly, what more is there to say about it other than what else do you want to say about it, Tori? Let's go. If people have got this far, they're gonna finish us out.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I think just like the one thing, and again, spoiler alert for the first 4 episodes, I am just really sad that Savannah went home. I think it just sucks that two people that were like really big gamers and made like kind of one fatal error ended up going home first, which I know that happens in other reality TV, but it just sucks when there's like nothing you can do to gain like immunity or whatever if you know
Yeah,
your
and I
ass
feel
is
like
on
the
the
first
line.
influencers always have it rough. And influencers are like the people that make the decisions. So something that I thought was like a really creative concept that the UK version of the circle used, and I wish that the US version kind of trusted their audience a bit more to make like enjoy the game. is the UK version had this like really compelling character or really compelling person, and she was catfishing as like her husband or something like that, and she got eliminated, but like she was really enjoyable. So whenever somebody gets eliminated, you get to go like meet somebody else playing the game like IRL, and it's that's always kind of like the coolest
Yes.
part to like see people interact, because so often people aren't
Yes.
interacting in the show other than through a screen, and you get to see like, oh my god, is the person real, is it fake? But what they had this girl do is they sent her to go meet somebody else, and she walked into a room, she walked into an apartment to find somebody, and it was an empty apartment, and then they locked her in there, and they said, you are now going to catfish as another player in the game. So she basically like took another player's profile, completely copied her entire profile, and her job was to make sure that the other players thought that she was like the original of that
That's
profile.
iconic.
She had like, I think like it was like 4 episodes essentially to like get the other players. So they were both, the profile she copied and her were immune for the next blocking ceremony. So she had all this time to get the players to believe that she was a real profile, and then the next elimination was like the original girl or the girl catfishing as the original girl, and one of them was going to get eliminated, and the other one would be like the one who remained. And I thought it was like an incredibly interesting concept of somebody who's a very clearly engaging character that people are enjoying to watch, kind of still playing the game, but doing it in a way that's just like creative. The other thing I wish the show would do is like, Tori, if you were to play the show and you were to catfish as like somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
right? That I went and played that, like if I could go and catfish as you, so I could be like Tori, and you would clearly be like, "What the fuck? Like, why am I playing this game when I'm here?" Who, and you'd be thrown for a loop because you know I was a catfish because you're you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to be like that person is catfishing because
I'm also catfishing. Yeah. Oh, it's literally so fun, and I feel like there's endless possibilities of what the producers can do.
yes,
I think I will say like, because maybe this is of interest to people, but I think that I would catfish, but I don't think I would do anything. I think I would be myself. And this is not self deprecating at all. Maybe it is, but I would just like pick someone's pictures that were like slightly hotter than I am. Okay, like it wouldn't be like Instagram model. Like I feel like it's really good to go in as like a middle of the road girl, but I also think that you get like a pretty privilege.
yeah, you do, because people are like, "Oh, I want to flirt
I want to
with
flirt with this
that."
person or I want to be this person's friend. I just feel like I don't have like the pictures for it.
And that's what it is too. Like for me, like it would be the same thing. The struggle would be like, I don't know if I have like the pictures to
They
like
just,
do
every
this.
single person that they cast, and like obviously they like probably clearly go on Instagram and look at people's like open profiles and then just like DM them, because like you can tell that like there are people that just have like a bunch of posed photos at like, you know,
Yeah.
wineries and vacation and stuff like that. Like that's what people are choosing.
For anybody who wants to apply to the Circle 3, this is your moment. Take the next year or the next like 6 months, because I think they film in October, and get pictures for yourself at every which way. So you can have all these different things and be like, Nick at the beach, Nick in the forest, Nick at work,
Yes.
Nick on Ready to Be Petty podcast.
There definitely is like a type of player that they're like after, and it's just like a person that has a lot of pictures. But you can choose to catfish as someone that you know has a lot of pictures and just be yourself. But I think that that is the best. I just feel like the catfishes don't always have enough content to talk about during the day. Like I again follow Jack, who's a player posing as Emily this season. I follow him on TikTok, and he's talking about like everything BTS, and he's saying like probably half the day we're talking to other people. That's like 12 hours. So you have to have the content to be able to have conversations. So like if you're catfishing as like a different gender or like a different occupation, like you have to have the facts to back it
You
up.
need to be ready. And that's what's so hard about it. And people, I think, go in like unprepared.
Yes, okay. And I really feel like, as ugly as this is, because we're all about bucking gender roles and stereotypes at RTBP, but like honestly, I feel like you have to like play into your like traditional gender norms, because basically this season, the only people that have been like suspect of being a catfish are people that, like, for example, Emily, the sorority girl, knew a little too much about football or some sport. And then the girl was like, Delisa, who's catfishing as Trevor, was like, she knows too much about sports to be a girl. And like, so I feel you just have to like match kind of like what other people would think in their heads.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes they do that and they're like, there's no way this can be right. And it's like, why couldn't that person know that
I
shit
know,
anyway?
I know. Like you just kind of have to go in as like a classic like girl, I guess, or guy.
There would be nothing more embarrassing than going in as yourself, playing as yourself, and then people thinking you're a catfish.
Yeah. Yeah, people just like believe these certain stereotypes, and like that's what could get you into hot water.
But also, like, it shouldn't matter if you're a catfish or not. Like, it really shouldn't matter. Like, if I connect with you, you connect with me, whether I'm a catfish or not, keep me in the damn game because we're gonna keep each other safe. How about that?
Yeah, and I think it's just a really fun game also because like the games that they play, that there's just like a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity for drama to go down, which like does happen in like Big Brother and Survivor like challenges too, but I don't know, it's just like really really fun.
The drama in the circle that is different than the drama in Survivor and Big Brother is that in some ways it's more personal, but it's not personal because you're not mad at like the person directly. You're mad at like how they're saying things over text.
Right.
So it doesn't come across as like mean spirited because like you don't know anything. You don't even know if that's the right person or not. So like that's kind of what stands out to me is that it's like people's personalities like clashing or them just like ranting by themselves. Like everything you watch is essentially like a confessional where it's like their real thoughts, which is what's great about it.
Totally. That's what's so much fun. And like again, for people that play orgs, I feel like it's just so much fun because it like kind of feels like what you do in your like apartment. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Nick, for joining me on the podcast. As I mentioned at the beginning, there is a part 2, and I'm sure I'll release that sometime soon. We talked for another hour about streaming services, seasonal allergies, and school spirit. And it was kind of nice to be petty about things IRL, not just celebs and reality TV. So stay tuned for that. If you want to join the RTBP community, follow along on all socials at RTBP Podcast. And of course, let me know what you want me to talk about next. I hope you are safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Tori, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.